So, I spent this past 2 days watching what I think was perhaps one of the greatest acts of expression and collaboration that I've ever seen. So, I'm a fan of TTB, Tedeschi Trucks Band. Okay. Have been for many, many years, both a fan of Susan and as Derek, both as artists. But then when they came together, what was it in 2010, 2011, something like that? We truly heard something magical, okay, take place. And they created this band. But last night and the night before last, July 31st and August 1st, 2026, they played at Red Rocks in Colorado, Morrison, Colorado, outside of Denver. What we saw were two very different shows, and each one a masterclass in itself. But then if you look at the 2 nights as a whole, you get a real masterclass in expression, individuality, collective goal, and improvisation. Now, this was a beautiful show, and that's the beauty of jam bands. Now, I was not able to go there in person. I didn't get to see it in person. I had to watch it on Nugs, okay? And that's a whole nother topic because I have thoughts on that I'm going to make a video about later on. But I want to tell you more in this video about the master class that we saw with Tedeschi Trucks. There were vocals, there were long guitar riffs, there were everything on Friday night you could ever want. If you went in person, the show was worth, I'm sure, every dollar you spent for that show. But then you come back on the first. Susan with her much more raw, powerful vocals, much more presence on the stage Saturday night than she had on Friday night, from what I could tell. And she was doing covers and she was, giving tributes to Jerry Garcia, but a guy, different people, Bonnie Wright, people who were her great influences probably. And then you had Derek, with the strong guitar as always. You had the supporting band. This was just a great masterclass in collective expression. Okay, to where I don't know if Susan was having a rough night Friday night or what, but the rest of the band was able to pick up for her and really bring her to the top. Maybe that was by design. I don't know. But on Saturday night, we saw a very different performance, and that performance was beautiful. So I think one of the bigger things that we can take away from this is the beauty of collective collaboration and self expression. Every member of the band is able to express themselves as they want. Every unit is able to perform within their own autonomy while still sticking to the boundaries of the sandbox. But the sandbox has to be big enough for everyone to play in, and it has to be big enough for everyone to contribute something and to contribute something in their own way and to get something out of it and to give something from it. That's the beauty of what they're doing. And that's the beauty of this art form, is that it's as much individual as it is collective. But where does that leave us when we're talking about social platforms and things like YouTube? Well, it puts us in a very complex conundrum, really, because while the sandbox here at YouTube or in social media may feel very big, in order to get your slice of the pie, you have to be somewhat performative to the rules and expectations of the group. Now, if you know the history of Tedeschi Trucks Band, by design, they're different. Okay, in the tradition of like Jerry Garcia and the Grateful Dead and some of these other groups. And that tradition is coming back. That tradition maybe never left us. Maybe we just lost sight of it. But to be able to go out there and do things your own way with your own style and your own love and your own brand, and the sandbox is very limited. And to be able to do things your own way one night, change it up, do something different another night, and really stand out. That's the beauty of this. And to make it a master class every single time in some way, shape, or form is an even bigger part of the beauty of the art form. So I think they're teaching us more about finding ourselves in a new era than they are so much about showing us how great they are. Susan and Derek and the entire 12-member band and the entire production team is teaching us more about who we really are today. And that's really important. Why is it important? Because we live in a world where sometimes it feels like we're lost for identity, we're lost for expression. It feels almost like we've given up and surrendered. It feels like we've succumbed to the problems of the algorithms in the digital world. But maybe there's the reality that we haven't. We can still perform to our very, very, very best, and we can still do great things if we just put our mind to it and we just build a relationship with the audience. Excuse me, see that bug? Talk about improv. But if we build that relationship with the audience and between the artist and the creator, there's something really special to be had there. But it takes a lot of years building that trust. And it takes a lot of years building those expectations. So, if anything, what we saw was a real masterclass in expression and expressive freedom. And they turned Red Rocks into a real expressive space, which is exactly what it's supposed to be. And they turned my home into a real expressive space for me and for my wife when we're watching this. Something that often seems lost was found again through these two concerts. And there's a real beauty in that. And Derek, Susan, the whole band, we have you to thank for it. So thank you for your masterclass in expression and creativity. You guys are exceptional. And one day, after all these years of being a fan, I'm going to go to a show and I'm going to meet you guys. I'm going to shake your hand and say thank you in person for giving us the confidence to express ourselves within the sandbox and reminding us that art of expression within the sandbox is not lost.